I never thought I'd find myself sitting here, staring at my phone in the dark, heart pounding like I've just run a marathon. It's late, past midnight, and I still can't believe what I uncovered today. All my life, I believed in honesty, in loyalty, in the kind of love that's supposed to last forever. But that belief shattered the moment I found the evidence that tore my world apart. It started with a gut feeling, something gnawing at me for weeks. My wife Lisa has always been the perfect picture of charm with her bright smile and easy laugh. We've been planning our wedding for months, and everything felt so solid, so certain. Until a few days ago when I noticed her phone kept buzzing exactly when she thought I wasn't looking. She'd hide it quickly, but I caught her slipping her phone into her purse before I could see the screen. Nothing specific, just a flicker of suspicion. Still, I told myself I was overreacting. Maybe she was just texting friends. Then yesterday I found her wallet on the kitchen table. Something told me to check inside, stupid, I know, but I did it anyway. That's when I saw a tiny, crumpled square of tissue hidden in the corner. I almost missed it, but my fingers brushed it as I reached for the wallet. When I unfolded it, I saw the faint lipstick stain. Not her usual shade, not her color, something darker, more sultry. My stomach sank. I've seen enough movies and read enough stories to know what it meant. It was a damn signal, and I felt my face go cold. I pressed my thumb to the stain, and the scent hit me, something floral mixed with a strange, musky undertone. I pressed harder, feeling the blood drain from my head. My palms went sweaty, and suddenly I was furious. It was right there, proof. She lied to me, played me for a fool. I needed more. I went through her phone last night, something I promised myself I'd never do. But I couldn't shake the feeling that she was hiding something worse. I scrolled through her messages, heart pounding louder with every new line I read. There were texts between her and our neighbor, Jake, that made my stomach turn. Flirty, suggestive stuff, more than just friendly banter. I saw pictures, 2 photos of her in our bed, whispering into her phone, her face flushed. With excitement, I could feel the heat rising in my chest. My fists clenched so tight my nails dug into my palms. That's when I saw the last message from her. Can't wait to see you tonight. That was the clincher. The night she was supposed to be at her mom's. I didn't sleep last night. Instead, I sat in the dark, replaying everything I'd found. The betrayal hit like a punch, sharp, relentless. I wondered how long this had been going on, how many times she'd lied to me about where she was. The worst part. She'd been lying for months. All the while I was planning a future with her, imagining our life together. That's over now. I never thought I'd be the kind of guy to catch his wife cheating before a wedding. Hell, I never thought I'd be that guy at all, but I was. And now I'm left with this sick feeling like I've been smacked across the face. I keep asking myself, how do I even begin to trust her again? Or can I? I looked at the evidence one more time. Lipstick stain, those suggestive messages, the photos, everything confirmed one thing. Lisa's been lying about her fidelity, and she's been sneaking around with Jake. The worst part, I don't even know if I want to confront her yet. Part of me just wants to disappear, to leave it all behind. But I know I have to face her. I have to know what she's thinking, what she's feeling, if she even cares that I found out. I can't keep this bottled up anymore. I need to get this off my chest, so I'm telling you all. If you're reading this, just know, this isn't a story about petty revenge or some impulsive anger. It's about the brutal wake-up call I never wanted. I have years invested in her, yes, but what's the point if she's been secretly betraying me? Tomorrow I plan to confront her, and when I do, I'll decide whether I walk away or fight for what's left of us. Right now I feel like I'm standing in a storm, unsure if I'll get washed out or find shelter. Either way, the lie is exposed, and trust, that's gone, permanently. I've been tossing and turning all night trying to figure out my next move. The thing is, I've got all this raw anger bubbling inside me, but I also know I need to be strategic. Confronting her without a plan feels like walking into a minefield, and I can't afford to be reckless, especially not now. This morning, I decided to go through her things more carefully. I needed to understand how deep this really went. I checked her emails, her social media, even her closet. I wasn't just looking for more physical evidence. I was trying to gauge her state of mind. Was she genuinely remorseful? Or did she think she could just keep this hidden forever? In her closet, I found a small, crumpled receipt from a coffee shop nearby. It was from yesterday afternoon, about the same time she claimed to be at her mother's house. I looked at the timestamp, then at the bag she had left on the chair. It was a bit odd because she'd told me she was going to her mom's early that morning. Now I wondered if she had a whole other schedule. Did she meet Jake then? Or was that just a cover? I slipped the receipt into my pocket and kept going. In her purse, I found a tiny vial of perfume I didn't recognize. Floral, heavy. A scent that lingered long after she'd left. I sniffed it, nose involuntarily wrinkling. That's got to be Jake's. I've smelled it on her before, but I never paid it any mind until now. It hit me like a slap. How many lies have I been living with? How many nights has she been out with him? I've always believed that love is about trust, but now I see how fragile that trust really is. I've been blind, fooling myself into thinking everything was perfect. How wrong I was. The evidence piles up and I'm starting to feel like I'm drowning in it. The worst part, I think she's been lying so well I almost started to doubt myself. Maybe she's convinced herself that her lies are justified. Maybe she's convinced herself I'd never find out. I sit here, staring at the evidence, wondering what she's thinking right now. Has she realized I know? Or is she still playing her game, pretending everything's fine? I want to call her, to scream at her, to demand answers. But I also know I need to hold my temper. I need to stay in control, at least until I have all the facts straight. This afternoon, I plan to meet her for the first time since I uncovered everything. I'll ask her straight up, no beating around the bush. I want to see her face when I tell her I've seen the texts, the perfume, the receipt. I want to see her squirm. Maybe then I'll get some clarity on whether she genuinely regrets or if she's just trying to cover her tracks. I don't want to do this in a rush, but I can feel the anger boiling over, and I'm afraid if I wait much longer, I might lose all reason. I've got my phone ready, with a recorded voice memo I secretly set up just in case I need to catch her lying again. That's how far I've come. I'm prepared for every eventuality now. As I sit here, I realize how much she's changed everything. My stomach, clenched tight, palms cold and sweaty. It's like I've been punched in the gut repeatedly. I never thought I'd be the guy to find out his wife was cheating, especially right before our wedding. But here I am, with a sinking feeling that my entire life is about to change forever. I still don't know what I'll say when I see her. Part of me wants to tear her apart, call her a liar, ask her what the hell she thinks she's doing. And the other part, the part that's always believed in her, that still wants to believe she's worth saving, is trembling just beneath the surface. Tomorrow will tell. That's when I'll confront her face to face with every piece of evidence laid out. I can only guess what her reaction will be, but I know one thing: nothing will be the same after that. And honestly, I'm not sure if I care anymore. I just want the truth, and I want it honest. Whatever comes after, I'll handle it then. But one thing's clear: I won't be blind anymore. Today's confrontation was supposed to be simple. I had everything ready, my phone recording, the evidence spread out in my mind like a checklist. I told myself I'd keep my cool, ask the questions, listen to her excuses, if she even had any. But as soon as I saw her standing there in the doorway, I knew it wasn't going to be that easy. Lisa looked like she'd been running all night. Her eyes were puffy and her cheeks had that nervous flush I'd never seen before. She tried to smile, but it looked strained, forced even. "Hey," she said, voice trembling just a little. "You look upset. What's going on?" I didn't waste time. I pulled out the printouts, the receipts, the screenshots. "Tell me what this is," I said, voice cold and steady, holding the evidence in my hand. "Because I found all of this, Lisa, and I want the truth. Now." She stared at the papers, her face going pale. Her hands trembled as she reached for them, but I stepped back, holding the stack just out of reach. "Don't bullshit me," I said. "I saw the text, the perfume, the receipt. You've been lying for months, haven't you?" She swallowed hard, eyes darting away. "It's not what you think," she whispered. "It's complicated. I didn't mean for it to go this far." "No," I interrupted, voice rising slightly. "You don't get to excuse this. You cheated, Lisa, with Jake, our neighbor, while I was planning our wedding. Don't try to tell me it's complicated. I want to know why." Her shoulders sagged and she looked at the floor like she was trying to disappear into the tiles. "It was a mistake," she muttered. "I was lonely. I didn't know how to tell you I was feeling trapped. It just happened. That's bullshit, I snapped, feeling my stomach tight. It just happened. You think lying and sneaking behind my back is some accident. No, you made a choice. Every damn time you went out with him, you chose to betray me. Her lips trembled. I didn't want to hurt you. Too late for that, I growled. You've hurt me enough, but I've got to ask, how long has this been going on? How many times? She hesitated, eyes brimming with tears. Months, I swear. I thought I could stop, but it just kept pulling me in. I never wanted to lose you. I was so stupid. I took a step back, feeling the anger flare inside me. My chest was tight, my hands clenched into fists. You lied to me every day, I said through gritted teeth. While I was planning our future, you were sneaking around with Jake. Do you even realize how much you've destroyed? Her voice cracked. I know I messed up. I'm so sorry. Please just give me a chance to explain. No, I cut her off sharply. There's nothing to explain, not anymore. I trusted you. I loved you, but I don't think I can ever trust you again, not after this. She looked like I'd punched her in the gut, her eyes filling with tears. Please, she begged softly, don't do this. We can fix it. I shook my head, feeling the weight of everything crashing down on me. No, Lisa, there's nothing left to fix. You made your choice, and I'm done being the fool. I came here to tell you I'm done with lies and betrayal. I don't want to be with someone who's capable of this, someone who's willing to throw everything away for a moment of stupidity. Her face crumpled. You're just going to leave after everything. Yeah, I said, voice cold as steel. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I don't need your apologies. I don't need your excuses. I just need you to know it's over. And I mean it. I turned away, my heart pounding so loud I thought it might burst out of my chest. I walked toward the door, feeling numb but relieved at the same time. As I reached for the handle, she called after me, voice trembling. Please, don't go like this. I love you. Love doesn't mean jack if you're willing to cheat. I shot back, my voice rising. Goodbye, Lisa. I slammed the door behind me and stepped out into the street, my legs shaky. The cold air hit me like a slap. I expected relief, maybe even a little hope, but all I felt was emptiness. A part of me wanted her to run after me, to beg me to stay, but I knew better. That chapter was done. Now everything was about figuring out what's next. I had to decide if I'd really walk away for good, or if I'd find a way to get even. Either way, I'd made up my mind. I wasn't going to be the fool anymore. No more lies, no more betrayal. That's how I planned to reclaim what was left of my dignity. And as I looked back at her standing in the doorway, tears streaming down her face, I knew this was only the beginning. The drive home was a blur. My mind was a mess of conflicting emotions. I felt hollow, yet somehow lighter than I'd been in months. I kept replaying the confrontation, the way her voice cracked, her eyes welling up with tears. Part of me wanted to crush her. Part of me wanted to run after her and shake some sense into her. But mostly I felt numb, like I'd been punched in the gut, and all I could do was drive and try to breathe through the pain. Once I got home, I didn't bother unpacking or doing anything productive. I just sat on the couch, staring at the same four walls I'd looked at 100 times before. The evidence I'd gathered kept flashing in my mind, the lipstick stain, the texts, the perfume. Each one a reminder that my entire life had been a lie. But I also knew that I had to do something more. I couldn't just let her get away with it, not without a price. My mind started spinning with ideas, ways to make her regret what she'd done, ways to make her realize what she lost. Revenge? Yeah, that's what I kept circling back to. I wasn't one to be petty or to burn everything down for no reason, but this was different. This was about reclaiming my dignity, my pride, my self-respect. I spent the rest of the day planning silently, waiting for the right moment to act. I knew I'd need leverage, something to make her understand she couldn't just walk away without consequences. I remembered that Jake had left his phone on her nightstand when he came over last week. I knew the passcode, and I knew I could get in. So late that night, I sneaked into her room. Heart pounding, I unlocked his phone, and what I saw confirmed what I'd suspected. They'd been exchanging photos, messages. Some of the texts were explicit enough to make my stomach turn again. My fingers trembled as I scrolled through. I had everything I needed now, proof, undeniable proof. I didn't want to be some obsessive psycho. I just wanted her to feel what I felt, betrayed, humiliated, furious. I knew I couldn't confront her directly with all this, not yet. Instead, I decided to take a more calculated approach. Tomorrow, I'd show her I wasn't fooling around anymore. I'd send the evidence to her family, her friends, anyone who mattered. Let her see her lies exposed to the world. The thought made my hands feel cold, but it also gave me a strange sense of clarity. I had to make her understand what she's lost, what she's risking by throwing everything away. I wasn't just hurt, I was furious. Furious enough to ruin her reputation, if that's what it took to get my point across. I set everything up carefully so she wouldn't suspect a thing. I'd send the evidence early tomorrow, right before she woke up. I wanted her to wake up to the truth, to face the fallout before she even had a chance to spin her lies. That way, she'd know I wasn't playing around anymore. This was real. This was her wake-up call. Lying here now, I feel my stomach twist again, part rage, part heartbreak. I was naive, I'll admit. I believed in her. I believed in us. Now I see how blind I'd been, but I also know I'm done. Done pretending her betrayal didn't cut so deep it'd leave scars. Done with the trust I wasted on someone who clearly didn't deserve it. Tomorrow, I'll make sure she understands that. I'm not the same man who used to believe in fairy tales. I'm the man who's been betrayed and now refuses to be a victim. I'll show her that her lies have consequences, big ones. I don't care if I sound ruthless. I want her to feel what I'm feeling, an icy, relentless ache that cuts through her like a blade. As I sit here, staring at the dark, I realize one thing: this isn't just about revenge. It's about reclaiming my dignity, my strength. If I don't do something now, I'll forever be the fool she played. I won't let her ruin me, not anymore. Tomorrow is the start of something new, whether that's her downfall or my liberation. Either way, I'll take control, and she'll finally see what she's lost. The morning came faster than I expected, and I felt the weight of what I was about to do pressing down hard on my chest. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at my phone, rehearsing what I'd say, if I even decided to say anything at all. The plan was simple: send the evidence anonymously, let her wake up to her own destruction. But the nerves gnawed at me, and I wondered if I was going too far, if this revenge was just fueling my own pain. I finally decided I'd send the messages early, just as the sun was rising. No warning, no chance for her to prepare or deny. I opened my email, attached the screenshots, the photos, the texts, everything that confirmed her betrayal, and sent it to her closest friends, her sister, her parents. I unlocked her social media accounts, and with a shaky finger I posted a message on her Facebook exposing her to everyone she cared about. The message was short, cold. She lied, she cheated. Be warned, trust is gone. I knew the repercussions could be severe. Her reputation, her relationships, everything she'd built, potentially ruined overnight. But that was the point. She needed to understand the gravity of what she'd done. Minutes later, I heard her phone buzzing uncontrollably. I was waiting outside the house when her car pulled up. She jumped out, eyes wide, face pale as a sheet. Her hands trembled as she pulled her phone out of her pocket, scrolling furiously. She looked stunned, almost like she couldn't believe what she was seeing. I watched from a distance, feeling a strange mixture of satisfaction and regret. She ran inside, locking the door behind her. I knew she'd start calling everyone she knew, trying to piece together what had gone wrong. Her face was a mask of shock, guilt, and panic. I saw her packing, her hands clutching her hair. I wanted to go to her to see if she'd finally break, but I held back. Instead, I stayed in my car, watching her through the window. I felt the coldness settle in my chest as I realized how much damage I'd just inflicted. I'd unleashed a storm, and it was tearing her apart. The thought made my stomach twist again. Was this really what I wanted, or just what I needed to do to feel some semblance of justice? As I sat there, I remembered the quiet hope I'd once had. I remembered planning our future, dreaming about the life we'd build. Now, that all felt like a distant memory, replaced by a bitter truth I couldn't ignore. She'd thrown it all away, and I just made sure she knew it. I finally stepped out of my car and made my way back home. I didn't bother knocking. I didn't want to see her yet. I just needed to breathe, to process the chaos I'd set in motion. I poured myself a drink, something to numb the ache, and sat in silence, staring at the empty walls. The house was dead silent, save for her phone ringing constantly. I could hear her trying to pick up, trying to talk to someone, trying to save what was left. I didn't care. She could beg, plead, cry, nothing would change what had happened. I had made my choice. I felt a strange mixture of relief and emptiness as I listened to the chaos outside. For the first time in a long while, I felt like I'd taken control of my life again. But at what cost? I kept asking myself that as I waited for her to come out and face me. When she finally emerged, her face was streaked with tears, her eyes swollen and red. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Please," she begged, voice trembling. "Don't do this. We can fix it." I cut her off before she could finish. "No," I said coldly. "There's nothing left to fix. The truth's out. You chose to betray me and you think I just forgive and forget." She sank to her knees, sobbing. "I love you," she choked out. "I didn't mean for it to get this bad. Please, I'll do anything. You should have thought about that before you decided to cheat." I snapped, my voice sharp. "You destroyed everything, Lisa, everything we had, and I won't be holding on anymore." I reached into my pocket and pulled out the keys to her apartment. Without hesitation, I handed them over to her. "Here," I said, voice steady. "Take your stuff and leave. I don't want to see you again." Her eyes widened in shock. "You're serious?" "Dead serious." I stared her down. "You told me you loved me. If that was true, you wouldn't have done this. So go find your own way now. Leave me the hell alone." She looked at me for a long moment, then slowly nodded, tears still streaming down her face. She took the keys and stood shakily, clutching her purse like it was a lifeline. I watched her walk toward the door, feeling the finality of it all. As she disappeared out the door, a strange calm washed over me. I finally felt free, free from the lies, the betrayal, the heartbreak. The revenge had been brutal but necessary. If I learned anything, it was that trust only works if both sides are willing to honor it. Once broken, it's damn near impossible to fix. And sometimes, the best thing you can do for yourself is walk away. The door shut behind her with a finality that echoed more loudly than I expected. For a moment I just stood there, watching the empty doorway, feeling the weight of everything I'd just done pressing down on me. It was over. The chaos, the lies, the betrayal, all gone in one cold, decisive act. I felt a strange mix of relief and emptiness, like I'd just cut out a piece of myself I didn't realize was so broken. I sank onto the couch, my legs trembling. The silence was deafening. No more ringing phones, no more lies. Just the quiet hum of the house, now eerily empty. I looked around at the place where our life had been supposed to start. It felt hollow, like a shell I was just beginning to realize I no longer belonged to. I reached for a glass on the coffee table, poured myself some water, and took a long sip. My hands were still a little shaky. That's when it hit me, how much this all had changed me. I'd gone from naive to hardened in a single day. I'd lost someone I loved, but I'd also found a part of me I'd buried deep down, something that refused to be crushed by lies. I knew I'd have to face the aftermath. Her friends, her family, they'd learn the truth now. I didn't intend to play the hero or the villain. I just wanted to do what I believed was right for me. No more secrets, no more hiding behind false smiles or empty promises. I'd exposed her, and I'd done it in a way that left no room for doubt. Looking back, I realized that revenge isn't about getting even for the sake of it. It's about reclaiming your dignity when someone you trust shatters it into pieces. It's about standing tall when everything around you seems to fall apart. And ultimately, it's about knowing that you didn't let her destroy you, because I refused to be a pawn in her game anymore. I thought about what she'd said, how her voice cracked, how her tear-streaked face haunted me. She loved me, she said. But love, I learned today, isn't about betrayal, it's about respect. And if someone can't give you that, then maybe walking away is the only way to survive. I took one last look around the house. Everything was as it had been, familiar but no longer mine. I knew I'd be okay, or at least I'd start to be. I had no illusions that the pain would vanish overnight, but I knew I'd come out of this stronger. I'd rebuild what was broken, piece by piece, one step at a time. As I finally got up and headed to the door, I felt an unexpected sense of closure. The chapter of my life with her was officially closed. I handed the keys to her apartment into a nearby drawer and locked the door behind me. I didn't look back. No need to. I'd made my statement and I'd reclaimed my peace, or at least a fragment of it. Walking into the sunlight, I realized one thing: trust is fragile, And sometimes it's better to walk away than to hold onto something irreparably broken. I'd lost her. Yes, but I'd gained something else, myself back. And that was worth more than any betrayal. I took a deep breath, feeling the cool air fill my lungs, and finally let go of the past. The pain still lingered, but so did a spark of hope. Not for her, not for what we lost, but for me, who I was and who I was going to become. And as I stepped into the day, I knew I was finally ready to face whatever was next, free from her lies and her betrayal. That's when I realized I had survived, and I would keep moving forward no matter what.